Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Friday morning here. We're a little bit behind our normal schedule. It's about 10:20 right now. We had some stuff going on in the studio this morning. We had some folks on national television in here in the studio, so we had to make sure that we got all that taken care of. But we are here, 10:21, Guerilla Sports Daily. Friday, like I said, Friday morning here, heading into the weekend, and we got the Stanley Cup Final tonight. I was worried. We were launching this show right on the heels of the NFL draft was already over. The NBA Finals were just wrapping up. I said, man, we are heading into the slowest point on the sports calendar. Are we going to have enough to talk about? And as I'm putting these rundowns together at night, the previous night or in the morning, geez Louise, there's just so much still going on in the world of sports, so much to talk about. We're going to get into all of it today. But I want to start off with some news that broke this morning, actually, when we were already at the studio, putting all of our stuff together for the day. Andrew Cogliano, Avalanche forward, retires after 17 seasons in the NHL. I put out a tweet this morning that I cannot possibly say enough good things about Andrew Cogliano. We got to know him a little bit over the last 3 years here in his time with the Avs, and I mean, just an absolute class act individual. Always willing to sit and talk, always willing to take the time out. Even after the tough losses, he was willing to sit in, wear the loss, be a true leader in the locker room, and it cannot be overstated enough what he meant to that 2022 Stanley Cup run. I don't know if the Avs win without him. That maybe sounds silly for a fourth-line role player. I don't know if the Avs win without Andrew Cogliano and what he meant to that team, not only what he provided on the ice for that 2022 Stanley Cup team, but what he provided off the ice. The one thing we heard unanimously from the players was this was not a guy who was afraid to jump right in and start functioning as a leader in that locker room. Over 1,000 games played. He knew that his voice carried weight. He knew that he was coming here to win a championship. I don't know if I've met anyone that better exemplifies what it means to be a professional than Andrew Cogliano. Just an outstanding individual. Like I said, I could sit here all afternoon and just wax on poetically about Andrew Cogliano. We won't do that. We have an Avs show coming up here at noon where I'm sure we will talk plenty about him, so we'll hear more about Andrew Cogliano. But he did release a statement this morning. This is from Andrew Cogliano. The game of hockey has given me and my family so much, and I am grateful for every moment. I am blessed to have played for so long with some great organizations and amazing teammates. I will miss being with the guys in the dressing room and battling for each other on the ice every night, but it's time to move on. Thank you to everyone I ever played with, played for, and all the great fans for all of their support. I'm excited to start my new chapter in the front office. I did bury the lead a little bit here. Andrew Cogliano, I said he means a lot to this Avalanche organization. Just how much does he mean? He's heading straight to the front office. He will be working with the Avs in a variety of roles, including pro and amateur scouting, player development. He'll even be helping the AHL's Colorado Eagles a bit. Typically what we see in these types of situations is player comes in, they fill a variety of roles, and then in 2 or 3 years, they will step into a more clearly defined role. That is what I'm expecting with Andrew Cogliano. 1,294 games played, 190 goals, 274 assists, 464 points, and across 17 seasons, just 27 games missed. Absolutely incredible run for Andrew Cogliano. It kind of became a running joke up in the Avs media box that when he left the ice, you weren't worried that Andrew Cogliano wasn't going to come back. He just seemed to bounce back from everything. He'll be missed in that locker room, not only by the players and the organization, but by the media as well. Like I said, I just love being able to chat with Andrew Cogliano, every single day. So excited that he's still going to be hanging around the Avs front office. We'll get to talk to him more, but congratulations to Andrew Cogliano, Stanley Cup champion Andrew Cogliano, on an outstanding NHL career. He moves into the front office. So, like I said, more on Andrew Cogliano at noon. If you guys are wanting to come back and hang out then, we'll be talking a lot more Avs and Andrew Cogliano right here on Guerilla Sports. Give a quick shout out to my guy Bodie Rubenstein here in the chat, hanging out this morning. Summer break for Bodie. Taking his time out to hang out with us here on YouTube. Big shout out to him, my guy, Bodie. All right, so I want to touch on something that we talked about yesterday. Liv Moods hosted Guerilla Sports Daily for the first time, and she talked about the NHL. Man, I am in NHL mode, Jay. The NFL considering a potential QB-only salary cap, meaning that they would then be separating quarterbacks out from the rest of the team in relation to how they affect the salary cap and how much you're allowed to pay and how much you're allowed to spend. I'm not going to go too far into this because Liv Moods covered it pretty thoroughly yesterday, but I did want to touch on it because it's in the realm of something that I think is, I was going to say important. It's not important, but I think it's interesting, and I think it's something that we should see some of these pro leagues start to do as the money continues to go up. The talent level continues to rise. I would like to see more leagues do stuff like this. I hope the NFL puts in a quarterback room only salary cap. And here's why. If you follow me for my NHL coverage, you know that over the last couple of years, I've been kind of beating the drum on, I think there needs to be some type of relief for players that your organization has drafted and developed and are now playing on your NHL roster. I believe that those salary cap hits, so let's use Nathan McKinnon, Colorado Avalanche, right here in Denver. Nathan McKinnon makes $12.6 million. Right now, the way that the current NHL rules stand, he hits $12.6 million against the salary cap. My proposal has been over the last couple of years that if it's a player that your organization has drafted and developed, you should be able to have that you pay him 12.6, his salary cap should be 6.3. It's a way of rewarding teams for drafting and developing players and not forcing teams to lose high-quality players that they drafted because of a salary cap squeeze. That's my thoughts for the NHL. I love this for the NFL. I love this proposal. You look around the money, you look around the league, where is all the money going? It's in all the quarterback rooms. It's in all the quarterback rooms. And that, take a look at what the Denver Broncos are going through right now. Lots of dead cap money because of the Russell Wilson buyout. It's going to, I just did a show earlier this week with Brandon Cristal where we were talking about this. The Broncos, despite the NFL salary cap being $255 million, the Broncos' real dollars that they're eligible to spend this year are going to be less than $200 because of the implications of the Russell Wilson buyout. To me, I think it makes sense that you can kind of put that in a separate bucket. And look, that's a salary cap. You're going to have to find a way to dance around that. But I like the fact that you can say these guys eat up their own salary cap because it just takes up too much percentage of your overall cap. It can really hinder and limit a team, and especially if you're looking at a team in the NFL that picked a quarterback, turned him into a franchise guy. You're down the road having to pay that guy a lot of money. It can affect the way that you can make up the rest of your team. This is an entertainment business. Pro sports is an entertainment business. You want to be able to put the best, most entertaining product on the field. You want the best teams being able to field great teams, putting butts in seats. And doing stuff like this, I think, helps that. The MLB is an absolute free-for-all. There's no salary cap whatsoever. And the NBA has the luxury tax rule. You can go over the salary cap. You just have to pay the luxury tax. And now, look, I do think those types of things, either no salary cap at all or the luxury tax, it can potentially lead down a road where you don't have quite the parity from season to season that you would like. Again, let's look at the NHL. 3 straight years now with no salary cap movement, maybe even 4 straight years if we're counting the 4 straight years, no salary cap movement. And it's led to more parity than ever. The playing field has been leveled a bit. And I think that with some salary cap loopholes, if you want to call it that, you could help teams to make sure that this parity stays, keep the salary cap, keep some constraints on it, but give some teams some flexibility to do the things that they need to do. NFL salary cap, I mentioned $255 million. NHL just $88 million. And the NBA is projected to be around $141. I think if you gave those teams, the teams in those leagues, some loopholes to get around that, I think it would help improve your product on the field, on the ice, on the court, et cetera, et cetera. Shifting gears here, we talked about logo and brand redesigns earlier this week. The LA Kings have officially announced their logo and brand redesign, and it's really more of a logo refresh. We talked about this earlier in the week. I like when teams listen to what the fans want and bring back popular era logos, branding, jerseys, whatever you have. We mentioned the Anaheim Ducks, we mentioned the Denver Broncos, and right here we got to look at, this is the refresh right here. It's not a huge change, but it does just make some modern tweaks to bring that old Gretzky era logo into 2024. I like this. I know there's been a little bit of pushback from LA Kings fans online wanting to go back to the purple and gold, match the LA Lakers, both playing there out of Crypto.com Arena. I like this. I know not everyone is big on logos and jerseys and stuff like this, but I always think it's fun and exciting to see. The Denver Broncos got their refresh this year. We're waiting on an Anaheim Ducks refresh in the NHL, and now the LA Kings dropped their redesign here. So here are the two logos, the one that it's the new logo is inspired off of, and the new logo. I think it's clean. I like it. Brings a little bit more white to the design, a little bit easier to read. The crown is a little bit updated. I think it's fun. Very subtle, nod to the old Gretzky era Kings. They are still releasing a redesigned jersey, and I'm anxious to see how they incorporate it. And this is where I think teams across all leagues can hit or miss on the vintage logo refresh. What jersey are you putting on? How is it going to look? Again, I mentioned the Denver Broncos when we were talking about this earlier this week. They just went with the full, for their alternates, they just went with the full on, we're running it right back. We're giving you the logo, we're giving you the jerseys, all of that. I'll be curious to see what the LA Kings do. If they stick this logo on some like super modernized looking jersey, I don't think it's going to look well. But if they keep going with the vintage theme, I think folks are going to like I said, the old Gretzky era LA Kings. I think that's going to be a fun look. All right, guys, moving on here over to the NBA. Lonzo Ball is on the trade block, or are we potentially looking at a buyout here? Now, Lonzo Ball, that name probably sounds familiar. It's been since 2022 since Lonzo Ball has played in a game, receiving the same, I was going to say experimental. It's not an experimental surgery, but it's experimental for pro athletes, athletes trying to get back to a high level. Lonzo Ball is on the verge of a return. He's been saying all summer he's on the verge of coming back. He thinks he can play. He thinks he's ready. But maybe not. Or maybe the Chicago Bulls don't agree. Not maybe not. I think Lonzo Ball is going to try to come back. But Chicago Bulls make the acquisition of Josh Giddey from Oklahoma City, and that kind of fills the void left by Lonzo Ball. To me, I don't know, it seems kind of silly for the Chicago Blackhawks. I am in Andrew Cogliano retired this morning, and that just flipped my brain to NHL mode. The Chicago Bulls, it seems silly to me for them to wait 2 years for Lonzo Ball to get healthy, for Lonzo Ball to work his way back in this rehab, only then to move on? To buy him out? Or to trade him for peanuts? I just don't get it if that's what you're going to do. To me, and look, they went out and addressed it by picking up Josh Giddey. I almost would want to see what I've got. Now, the caveat with that is Lonzo Ball took his player option. He's making $21.3 million this year. The only thing that kind of safeguards against that, having to pay that, is a buyout. Now, if I'm a team potentially looking to acquire Lonzo Ball, I'd much rather pick him up as a free agent. Give him a little bit less on the money side till we see what he's got. Can he get back to form? Before he went out, he was really starting to trend in the right direction. Maybe the first of the Ball brothers to actually trend in the right direction in the NBA. Can he get back to that? I know Colorado Avalanche fans are going to have the same question. They're going to be watching to see what Lonzo Ball does, as Gabe Landeskog had the exact same surgery as Lonzo Ball just a few weeks after him. So there is going to be some interest in what happens here. Do the Chicago Bulls trade him? If the Chicago Bulls trading him or buying him out, do they know something? Do they know that he's maybe not bouncing back from this injury? I doubt the Bulls are on the outs for how his rehab is going. I'm sure he's keeping them looped in. What does the potential of them looking to trade or buy out Lonzo Ball mean for his recovery and his rehab from this injury? He has been public in the last 9 months about the fact that he's coming back and that he feels he can get back. We've been watching, I mentioned Gabe Landeskog here in Denver, continue to look like he's improving, continuing to get better. It sticks out to me a little bit that the Chicago Bulls are this interested in moving on from Lonzo Ball. Maybe it is as simple as Josh Giddey comes in and they say, hey, we're good. We've got this position figured out. We don't need Lonzo Ball anymore. We don't need to wait. Because, again, I'm going to keep tying him and Gabe Landeskog together because they're going through the exact same rehab. They're the first two pro athletes looking to come back from this surgery. You know, I don't know. Is the uncertainty that Gabe Landeskog has talked about in terms of his timeline? When I asked Gabe Landeskog just about a month ago when about next season he was thinking he was going to be able to come back, he said, I'm very confident I'll be back sometime between early September and the first week of April. That's the entire NHL season, folks. So while he feels confident that he's going to be back, Gabe Landeskog says he's not sure when. Is that what the Chicago Bulls are looking at with Lonzo Ball? Sure, we'd love him back. We think he's going to be able to get back to the NBA. But we don't want to pay him $21.3 million because we don't know just how effective he's going to be. And we don't know when he's going to come back. And we need some more certainty. It's going to be an interesting one to follow. It's going to be an interesting one to follow here over the next couple weeks. And then what will be even more interesting to follow is what Lonzo Ball does after whatever this next move is. Look, I'll be honest. I doubt any team out there is going to want to pick up Lonzo Ball for $21.3 million. I don't know, maybe you're looking at a bottom team, a team rebuilding, a team trying to get to the cap floor. Maybe. That just seems like a hard sell. A team with no prior knowledge of what he's been going through, looking to give up assets to pay a player that much. I don't know. This does feel like it's heading toward a buyout, and I do think that's going to raise a lot of questions around Lonzo Ball's health, his ability to get back, and not only his ability to get back, but his ability to get back to the level of play that he was at before he got hurt, the level of play that earned him this $21.3 million player option on his contract. Like I said, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on this one because of the implications it has to the Colorado Avalanche, which is my daily beat role. You all know that. Going to be curious to see what happens with Lonzo Ball. Man, that's an easy way to end up with egg on your face if you're the Chicago Bulls. That is an easy way to end up with egg on your face if you're the Chicago Bulls, if he bounces. But if you buy him out because he's been injured and then he ends up bouncing back to the player that he was, or at least close. Going to be interesting. Sticking with the NBA, LeBron James set to become a free agent here when NBA free agency opens. And according to his agent, Rich Paul, LeBron James is not guaranteeing anybody that he will be signing with the team that drafts Bronny James. Now, of course, again, Liv talked about this yesterday. LeBron James Jr., declared early for the NBA draft after having kind of a lackluster season at USC in his first year of college ball, had some injury issues, and he is declaring for the NBA draft. This is going to be interesting because for years, we've heard LeBron James talk about, I want to play with my son. I want to stay in the league long enough to play with my son. There's been a lot of speculation in the last year that part of the reason LeBron James Jr. is heading towards the NBA is because there's the sense that LeBron James's career is getting near the end and they want a chance to play together. This seems fishy to me. This seems weird. Is this a scare tactic by LeBron James and his agent to make sure that no bottom feeder non-contenders take Bronny James? To make sure that, thinking, hey, well, if we get him, we can go get LeBron. Is this them doing this so that teams like that, don't pick teams that are on the outside of the bubble for the playoffs, looking to get in, don't take Bronny? That's honestly what it seems like to me. He's also stated, his agent, Rich Paul, has also stated that LeBron James will not be taking a minimum deal to go play somewhere like Phoenix, who is one of the two teams that has worked out Bronny James. It's been the Phoenix Suns and the LA Lakers. This to me seems like a lot of pre-spin and kind of making a statement to teams without directly making a statement to teams, saying it's not guaranteed he's going to go to your team just if you draft his son. So if you don't think you have a chance to land LeBron James, don't draft his son. It also seems like a tactic of saying, hey, even if it's a team we're interested in, don't think that drafting Bronny James is going to get you LeBron James for free. He's still going to take the money that he feels he's owed. So what is this? Is this a bluff? Is this a scare tactic? Or is this another example of LeBron James being the one that truly runs the NBA? Spoke with an NBA insider not all that long ago, it was about a year ago, who said the NBA desperately needs LeBron James to retire so that they can turn things over to the next generation of players. You can start to have a new face of the league. Look, LeBron James is still an outstanding player. There are plenty of people that will still make the argument he's the greatest of all time. I'm not getting into that argument here. I'm not going to do that right now. But there are people that make that argument. The amount of success he's had in his career is undeniable as an individual. He's got multiple rings. He's been unbelievable for the NBA and the game of basketball. Things like this, I think, are an example of why it needs to start being time for this league to be able to move on. You go back to LeBron James, it's kind of. I know there's some old school basketball fans that will probably jump in the chat and tell me I'm an idiot for saying this, that it's been going on for long before that. But LeBron James going to the Miami Heat with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh was really one of the first times that I remember seeing the super team mentality really start to be, applied in the NBA. And then it just seemed like LeBron James was kind of jumping around, for years after that, and left Cleveland brutally, goes back to Cleveland. There's just, you can't forget The Decision, right? The ESPN special, The Decision, him announcing that he's leaving Cleveland. It just seems like it's been a circus in the NBA for the last 20 years, just keeping up with what LeBron James is doing. Again, you cannot deny his greatness, what he did for the game, what he's done for the NBA. But with the next generation coming in, not only as players, but as fans, coming into to sports, you got players, and I know Nikola Jokic isn't like a rookie, but you got players like Nikola Jokic, Anthony Edwards. You need to start turning the page on the league, and we need to stop having headlines like this. Oh, where's LeBron James going? Where's he going? Ooh, is he going to play with his son? We're getting close to being time to move on. It's not happening soon. It's not happening this year. Probably isn't even happening next year. And if I had to take a guess, I'd say LeBron James probably does the I'm retiring and then comes back for one more year, something like that. LeBron James, not guaranteeing he's going where his son will be drafted. All right, rounding out this Friday. Game 6, Stanley Cup Finals is tonight. The Edmonton Oilers are going to try to push this to 7 games after being down 3-0. And there is one thing you can be certain of in these playoffs. From the net on out, Stuart Skinner to Connor McDavid, the Edmonton Oilers have been fantastic in elimination games these playoffs. When their season has been on the line, 4-0 for Stuart Skinner with a .928 save percentage, allowing fewer than 2 goals a game when their backs are up against the wall. Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, came out this morning and said, this team likes these moments. We like the big stage. We like the pressure. We like our backs being against the wall. They're going home tonight. It felt to me that Game 4 in Edmonton was the fans sending the Oilers off and saying, thank you for this season. Thank you for this run. We know it's coming to an end, but thank you for everything. That is not going to be the vibe in there tonight. That place is going to be an absolute madhouse. I've been very lucky in my career to cover a playoff series in Edmonton and multiple regular season games there. I know what that atmosphere is going to be. It's going to be absolutely electric. And the Panthers, this is the first time in this series I feel they've got pressure. I did not feel they had pressure to close out in Game 4. They wanted to get a split in Edmonton. They got that. I didn't even feel like they had pressure to close out in Game 5. You're up 3-1 in the series. You've got multiple chances at this. Tonight is a night I feel like the Florida Panthers are under some pressure. If this goes to 7 games, we talked about it when we were covering Avs Stars in round 2. If this goes to 7 games, all bets are off. It is no longer a 3-0 comeback. It is no longer a team that was up 3-0. It is a winner takes all Game 7. You do not want that, even if it is in your building, if you're the Florida Panthers. You want to go in, close this out tonight, and put the potential nightmare of blowing a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Final behind you. This is going to be must-watch TV tonight. What Connor McDavid is doing is on another level. We were very critical of him. Everyone was very critical of him and Leon Draisaitl after 3 games. They had done very little in this Stanley Cup Final. After falling behind 3-0 in the following 2 games, Connor McDavid has 8 points. He has set the NHL record for most assists in a single postseason, and he is knocking on the door of the most points in a postseason. Connor McDavid, if the Florida Panthers win tonight and the Stanley Cup is awarded, I think has to be the favorite to win the Conn Smythe Trophy as the playoff MVP. Let me say that again. If the Florida Panthers win tonight and the Edmonton Oilers lose, I still think Connor McDavid has to be the favorite for the Conn Smythe. If Sergei Bobrovsky absolutely goes off tonight in net for the Florida Panthers, I think he's the only guy that you could bump up against Connor McDavid and say, this has been the playoff MVP. The Edmonton Oilers lose tonight, I still think Connor McDavid has a great chance to win the Conn Smythe, be the first guy since J.S. Jaguar did that in 2004. Must-see TV, 6 p.m. Mountain tonight on ABC. I think that's going to do it for this week, guys. Great first week of Guerilla Sports Daily. We'll be back next week. I'll be hosting shows from Vegas. We'll have some other hosts in here, and we will have a special Euro Cup episode of Guerilla Sports Daily coming to you on Tuesday. We will also be having a Team Netherlands watch party, watch along, I should say, here in the studio for the Euro Cup. Our guy Jay, who you hear me referencing all the time, I'm pointing at right now off screen, and you can't see him. He is from the Netherlands. He's going to a watch party today to watch their game, and it's been fun kind of following this along with him. So there's a Netherlands Euro Cup game on Tuesday, 10 a.m. We will be doing a live watch along right here in the studio. Myself, Jay, JJ, and I think we're going to try to maybe grab 1 or 2 other folks to pop in and out, but it's going to be a ton of fun. So we'll be getting a special Euro Cup Guerilla Sports Daily next Tuesday from a couple folks here at Guerilla. And we just got all kinds of fun content coming for you guys next week, starting with stuff from Vegas. So that's going to do it for today, guys. Really appreciate you hanging out with us all week. We'll be right back here at the desk, 9:30 on Monday, every single weekday, 9:30 a.m. right here, Guerilla Sports Daily. We appreciate you guys so much. Jesse Montano, Jay behind the glass, making sure you guys can see and hear everything going on here. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great weekend.